Hi everyone. In this recording, you will see me solving the advent of code using Codex. I'll be using the Playground and I will be implementing it in Replit. And we start with this challenge where we are asked to count how many measurements have a value that is larger than the previous one. And clicking here, I'm getting my own personal input, which I will just copy paste into a new Replit file. Measurements.csv, why not? And paste. All right. So for now, nothing is happening just yet, and we'll start with setting the engine. And for today, we'll be inside my comfort zone using Go. So let's just try giving the instruction as is, and I will be doing my best to reuse the language of the exercise itself. Using Go, count the number of times a measurement or a number increases from the previous number. And the temperature will be low because I don't want it to get too creative. And the response length will be rather high because you need quite some characters for this. And in the file named measurements.csv. So it opens the file in the right name, so that's great. And it seems to convert that, separate by a comma, which is actually not the case. But it might just work still. Well, let's just copy paste that and run. Do I have a package main here? I don't. So I'm going to copy from import onward and replace that here. Let's see what happens. No. Line 33. Right, it assumes that I have at least 2 values per line, which is not the case. So let's see if I can change the instruction. In the file name CSV, there is 1 integer per line. Let's see if it changes the behavior in any way. So I deleted the space because I don't want it to get creative, but as you can see, it still got creative. So I'm trying something else and where there is 1 integer per line. Let's try it like this. No, it still gives me more instructions instead of implementing code. So I'm going to give it a small push and I'm going to start with the word import. And then basically it means start writing code. Don't go on explaining things in the comments. And I see that it again reads the file with the correct name and it scans the lines. And this time it does not try to split that by a comma, so that's good. Let's see if that works. So same as before, I am going from here and deleting the comments. And let's see. Okay, I got a number. 1388. Let's see if that's right. 1388. That's not the right answer. Okay. Let's see if we can change this a little more to say, maybe print some comments on the way. Use as input file where there's one integer per line. Print the count as you go. And I'm starting again with import because I'm telling it, don't get creative and continue. Ooh, Scala. No, that might just work, but we are in Go here. So I'll start with package main and import. This might be a better push to use the Go language. So we see that it opens the file correctly, does some scanning, and it looks like it's just going to print in the end, not inside the loop. And run. Interestingly, it printed again the same counter, so it looks like it's doing the same thing. Let's see if we can print this, just move this inside the loop. So this is a little bit of cheating, but it might help us. And final count, run. Well, we could have expected this. So my next guess would be, or my next attempt would be to add the instruction, print the, in case the current value is higher than the previous one, print both numbers. And package main and import. So in case you wonder why does it say here go, but it still did Scala once, the answer would be that this is for syntax highlighting, as you can see, and it's not an instruction of what programming language to use. So we need to add that into the context. So now I can see that the condition is here. Let's see if that performs better. And run. So I can see here that the instruction was to print previous and current. And previous here is 1297. So where is 1297? 1297. So this is here, we have only two of those. And if it started with printing it, I guess it just shows the last few lines and not everything. So maybe we can go to the end just to be sure. No, it actually, well, it seems not to do the first few numbers. I wonder if this is because it's just increasingly going up, and I can see that already. No, it should have caught this. But I don't see this happening here. So what I'm going to do for the purpose of debugging easier is limit this first to just 30 numbers instead of 2000. And I'm going to run this again. Sure, it will help me debug better. Whoop. Okay, so as we said, the instruction is that if the current number is larger than the previous, then print both and add 1 to the counter. And I see here that it prints that the previous is 0 and the current is 162, so that's good. And it prints then this one, so that's also good. And this one, that's good. That's good, because quick sanity check. Return to day 1, yeah. We need to print count the number of times that the measurement increases. Or even a better sanity check is just to use their simple example here. So I want to get 7. I'm going to change this. So I suspect that it should not count the first line because it says here not available, not first measurement, and it did print in here. So there is a good chance that we're off by 1. And to validate this assumption, I will type, what was the answer? 1338, I think. I will try 1337. That is also not the right answer, but I'm no longer sure whether this was the right one or not. So what I'm going to do now is, with this example input, I'm going to run this. And, whoop, yes, Control K does not work here. But I'm running this on this code, and I see that this is 8. So this is indeed a potential problem. So in case you missed it, because I was thinking a bit in my head, we print this one and we count this 8 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But in the example, it says do not measure this one because we don't have a previous measurement, so it's actually not 0. So one thing I can do is go and change the code, but that's not what we gathered here for. So the question is, how do I communicate this better to the computer? And I probably should add that as a comment in the instructions. There is no measurement before the first measurement. Let's see if that changes anything. There's no measurement before the first measurement, so don't count the first row. The first line. I see I've been using this word throughout the code, the instructions, so I'm going to stick to this. Package main. Let's see if it changes anything that I'm not even adding import. Well, it knows to do that, so that's wonderful. Oh, look at that. The code even has comments now. That's fun. Split the line into numbers. So I can see from the comments that it's doing slightly more than it should. And from here, I see that it accesses values that it shouldn't be accessing. So we're going to try this, but we're also going to expect for this not to work because this is not even an existing place, but let's see. Yeah, this does not exist. So you cannot access something that you split like this because you don't have, there's only one line in, there's only one value in each line. So now comes the fun part of prompt engineering, which is let's see what we can change so that the computer will understand me better. One thing I do already as an attempt is to add import. And let's see, small changes like maybe uppercase. And let's read this entire instruction or comment again and see if we can improve this a little bit. So count the number of times a number increases from the previous number. Let's change this line into excluding the first line. Use as an input the file measurements.csv, where there's one integer per line. And in case the current value is higher than the previous one, print both numbers. So this is our debugging comment. Let's see if this changes anything. Okay, so it opens the file correctly. And I still see a split, but this is by a new line, so maybe it might just work. Let's try. And go. So it printed 9 lines, and that's still not what we want, because in our example, we know that we want 7 to be an answer. And so I can see, for example, that it printed 260, although it's decreased. So let's see if we print here to 260, we do. So just one more sanity check. Is 200 printed? In our example, it is. So it looks like right now it just prints everything. Again, not what we want. Let's see how we can change this. And the first thing I can already do is change the comment, because I had a typo here. And language is a big deal. While your colleagues who read the comments will understand that, the computer not necessarily will. So my hunch is again that it might not work just from quickly looking at it, because I don't see a comparison between the two values. Whoop. But let's see. Again, 9. Indeed, no comparison between the two values. So the problem is something around this line, because this is actually the debugging line. So maybe this is a bit confusing. Let's see if I can rephrase this, because this used to work well. It did correctly the part of comparing the first and the second, the current and the previous value. Don't count the first line. And let's see if that goes better. So read the file, split into lines, okay. Current and previous. So it looks like here it assumes that our CSV has 2 values per line, and then it can split that by a comma and assume that the first and the second one are the values, but obviously we have a single value per line, so we expect this error. Let's try again, explaining this better. So maybe the first thing that I can do as a quick solution, and deduct 1 from the answer. So this is kind of cheating, because I already saw in the guts of it how does it perform, and we'll just run this and see if that does correct what it should be doing. It's kind of complicated. How about to try again? And generate. Read the file, convert to a string, okay. Split into an array of strings, already unnecessary. Convert the array of strings into an array of integers. We don't really have an array. Count the number of times a number increased from the previous number. Deduct 1. Well, at least it got this instruction right. Let's see if it does what it should be doing. Okay. This is something I will remove now and see if that helps with anything. 6. That is also not the answer we wanted. We want to see 7. So this time looks like it did the right thing, and we just need to remove 1 from the answer. So let's run this once, see that we do want to print, we just don't want to deduct this. Let's change this to print the answer. 7, and as an attempt to see if this hack around works, I'm going to put now the full file and run the whole thing, 1387. So that was my mistake. I remembered the value wrong, 1387. 1387. All right, so that was the right thing. And actually the suspicion was correct a while ago, but that I typed, instead of 1387, 1337, because I remembered that it was 1338. So let's see if we manage to get the correct answer once again, this time without the +1, -1 manipulation. So go. So now it's a little easier because we know what is the number that we expect to get. And we can already here see whether we're getting 1387 or not. Go. So 1387 is the number we want. And yes, finally we succeeded. It took something like 10, 15 iterations. And the only thing that I was changing is the instruction and maybe the first 1 or 2 lines of code, which is a stretch to call package main and import the code. I only need to know how, on a very high level, Go code looks like, and then I have this done. The tricky part is asking the computer to do this in the way that it does what I want it to do. So explaining the comment in this example. And this is what prompt engineering is about. Thanks for joining me on this fun adventure today.